I want to ask you something before I start. Think about the last time you got in an Uber. That specific moment, you open the app, you see the car, you see the name, you get in. Maybe you said hi. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you put your headphones in and looked out the window the whole ride. Now think about how much that driver knew about you before you ever opened your mouth. Your name, your pickup location, where you were going, what you look like. You hand all of that over without thinking twice. Because it's convenient. Because it's normal. Because millions of people do it every single day and nothing happens. I used to think the same thing. Then I got into a car on a Tuesday night and the driver said my name before I had a chance to introduce myself. Not the way drivers sometimes glance at the app and confirm your name at pickup. Something different. Something that felt like he'd been waiting to say it. That was the first thing. It was not the last. Chapter 1. The Ride. It was a Tuesday in March, a little past 10 at night. I'd been at a work event. One of those after-hours networking things where you spend 2 hours making small talk with people you'll never see again and leave feeling more drained than when you arrived. I was done. I wanted to go home, take my shoes off, and not talk to anyone for the rest of the night. I requested the Uber from outside the venue. 4-minute wait. The driver's name was listed as Daniel. 4.8 stars. Dark blue sedan. I checked the plate against the app the way you're supposed to and got in. Hey, I said. Hey, Sarah. I remember the specific way it landed. Not wrong exactly. Drivers confirm your name all the time. It's part of the process. But the timing was off. He didn't say it as a question the way they usually do. Didn't say Sarah with that slight upward lift that's really asking, are you the person I'm picking up? He just said it. Flat certain. Like he already knew and was choosing to say it. Out loud, I told myself it was nothing. Looked out the window. The route looked right. He pulled onto the main road heading toward my neighborhood. I put one earbud in. Just one. The way you do when you want to signal you're not up for conversation without being outright rude about it. For a few minutes, nothing happened. He drove. I watched the city go by. Then he said, long night? Yeah, work thing. The event on Meridian? I took the earbud out. How did you know that? He glanced at me in the rearview mirror. You put it as your pickup location. I looked at the app. My pickup location was listed as the venue's street address. Not its name, just the number and the street. I didn't say anything else. Put the earbud back in. Kept my eyes on the window. But my hand found my phone and stayed there. Chapter 2. The details. In isolation, none of what happened during that ride was impossible to explain away. That's the thing about this kind of situation, it doesn't announce itself. It accumulates. The name. Okay, driver, say your name. The venue. Okay, maybe he recognized the address. But then there was the street. About halfway to my apartment, he turned onto a road that wasn't on the route the app was showing. Not a dramatic detour, just a slight variation. One street over, running parallel to the main road. The app's showing a different route, I said. Traffic, he said. This is faster. I looked at the app. No traffic alert. The original route was completely clear. I didn't say that out loud. I just noted it and filed it away and hoped I was wrong about what it meant. We drove in silence for another minute. Then he said, without me bringing up anything, "You're on the 4th floor, right?" Everything in my body went still. What did you say? He didn't answer immediately. When he did, his voice was completely relaxed. I thought I remembered from a previous trip. I've picked up from your building before. I had never requested an Uber from my building. For 2 years, I'd always walked to the corner 2 blocks away and requested from there. A habit a friend had suggested. Never give a stranger your exact address if you can avoid it. Daniel couldn't have known what floor I lived on from any Uber trip. Not mine. I opened the app. 3 minutes from home. 3 minutes. I made a decision. Chapter 3. The exit. I didn't say anything that would tell him I was scared. That was the most important thing I understood in that moment. Don't let him know you know something is wrong. I typed a message to my roommate. I'm in an Uber, 2 minutes out. Come to the door when I text you. Then I sent her the driver's name and plate number without explaining why. She replied immediately, on it. When we pulled onto my street, I watched his hands on the wheel. Relaxed, he was completely relaxed. That almost made it worse. He pulled up to the corner, not my building, the corner, where I'd put my drop-off pin, and stopped. Here you go, he said. Thanks, I said. I got out, walked to the corner and turned, keeping my pace even. Not fast, not slow. I heard the car idling behind me. I did not look back. I got to my building door, used my key, and pushed inside. My roommate was already in the hallway. What happened? She could see it on my face before I said a word. I told her everything. The name, the venue, the street, the floor. She was quiet for a second. Then, report it. Right now. I did. That night. Through the app first and then through the non-emergency police line, when the app's response felt completely inadequate for what I was trying to describe. And then I tried to sleep. That didn't really work either. Chapter 4. What I found. 3 days later. I want to be honest about something. Up until this point, I was still holding on to the possibility that I had been wrong, that the name was protocol, the venue was a lucky guess, the street was a shortcut, the floor was a misremembered trip from someone else. I wanted to be wrong. Being wrong meant I had overreacted and nothing had actually happened. I was not wrong. 3 days after the ride, I was doing laundry in the basement of my building. Off the laundry room, there's a small storage area, a narrow room most residents use for bikes and boxes and things that don't fit in their apartments. The door was slightly open. It shouldn't have been. It locks automatically, but the latch was old and sometimes didn't catch properly. I pushed it open to check if someone had left a bike unlocked. There was a phone propped against the wall in the far corner. Not forgotten, not dropped. Propped, deliberately positioned with the camera facing outward, angled toward the laundry room entrance. I did not touch it. I backed out of the room, went upstairs, and called the police. When they came and examined it, they confirmed it had been recording. Motion activated. The footage covered approximately 8 weeks, not 3 weeks, 8. 8 weeks of residents coming and going from the laundry room, including me. Multiple times. Always alone. Always at the same approximate times a day. My schedule documented without my knowledge for 2 months before that Tuesday night ride. The Uber wasn't the beginning of something. It was almost the end. Chapter 5. The Pattern. When investigators pulled the records connected to the driver's Uber account, they found what I already suspected. It was fake. Created 5 weeks before my ride. A name that didn't match any verified ID. A profile photo pulled from a stock image website. 4.8 stars built across manufactured rides designed to make the account look legitimate. He had completed 14 trips before mine. All of them women. All of them alone. All of them at night. All of them in the same area of the city. But here's what made investigators go quiet when they told me. When they searched the device linked to the account, they found folders. Organized, labeled folders. Each. One containing a woman's name, her address, her building entry points, her daily schedule broken down by day of the week, photos taken from a distance over a period of weeks. 14 folders. I was the 15th. Some of the women in those folders had taken the Uber. Others hadn't. He had found them through other means that investigators were still piecing together. What connected all of them was the same pattern. Weeks of observation first, learning the routine, identifying the moments when they were most alone and most vulnerable. The phone in my basement wasn't unique. 2 other buildings in the area were searched after that. Both had similar devices and shared spaces. Both had been there for months. None of those residents had any idea. When investigators briefed me on what they'd found, I remember sitting there trying to process the timeline. 8 weeks. He had been watching me for 8 weeks before he ever drove that car to pick me up. The Uber wasn't how he found me, it was how he decided he was ready. Chapter 6. What happened to him? They identified him within 2 weeks of recovering the devices. I'm not going to use his real name here. What I will tell you is that he was in his late 30s, lived alone, and had no prior criminal record that had resulted in a conviction. He had worked in tech. He understood systems, how apps work, how accounts are verified, how much information moves invisibly between platforms every time you make a transaction. He was arrested, charged with stalking, unlawful surveillance, and several counts related to the recordings. The case was built carefully. Prosecutors were confident. He was released on bail pending trial with strict conditions, mandatory check-ins, restricted travel, surrender of his passport. For 11 weeks he complied, and then one Tuesday morning, a Tuesday, the same day of the week he had picked me up, he missed his check-in. Investigators went to his apartment. Empty, not recently emptied. Carefully emptied. Over time, gradually. The kind of leaving that takes planning. His passport had been surrendered. He left anyway. There is an active warrant for his arrest. As of the time I'm recording this, he has not been found. 14 women, possibly more. Months of recordings. A system built specifically to get close to people who had no reason to suspect anything. And he is still out there. I still use rideshare apps. I'm not going to tell you to stop. That's not the point of this, and it never was. But I do things differently now. I don't use my real name on the account. A variation, a nickname, anything that isn't what's on my ID. If a driver says it with that particular certainty, not asking, just stating, I notice that now. I never put my exact address as pickup or drop off, a corner nearby, close enough to be convenient, far enough that a stranger doesn't have my building number. I screenshot the driver's name and plate before the car moves, every single time. I send it to someone. It takes 4 seconds. And if something feels wrong, if a route changes without explanation, if a detail comes up that the app couldn't have given him, if something small doesn't add up, I don't wait for something bigger to confirm it. I get out. There are 14 women who had folders with their names on them and never knew, who went about their routines for weeks while someone documented every pattern, every entry point, every moment they were alone. Some of them still don't know. I think about that more than I probably should. He knew my name before I told him. He knew my floor. He knew my schedule better than I did. And somewhere out there, he still does. Stay safe. Check the plate. Share your location. And trust yourself, even when part of you is looking for a reason not to.